It's finally ready!
Pixar gave us talking toys, lovable monsters, and a rat who just wants to cook. And then they handed us this homicidal man-child. On paper, Syndrome looks ridiculous. Flaming ginger hair, a costume with a giant S. He doesn't even know how to handle his own cape. But don't be fooled. Behind that goofy smile is a man who has slaughtered dozens of heroes like he's auditioning for the role of an animated Thanos. Pixar really said, what if your childhood hero rejected you and you turned into Jeff Bezos with a death ray? This was the character who showed us that The Incredibles isn't just a children's movie. It's a cautionary tale. Buried beneath its bright colors and jazzy soundtrack is one of the most chilling villains ever. And the worst part, he makes you feel like it's justified. In this video, I'll tell you all the reasons why Syndrome was eviler than evil. He wasn't just the guy who flipped the script on the super's values. No, he did it way more. So buckle up, let's talk about why Syndrome was Pixar's most vile creation. Every villain has an origin story. Some were born evil, some had a bad day, and some were Buddy Pine. Buddy wasn't born bad. He was just a kid who idealized Mr. Incredible. He dreamed of being a sidekick, the Robin to Bob Parr's version of Batman. In the beginning of the film, we watched him fanboy over Mr. Incredible.
I know all your moves, your crime-fighting style, favorite catchphrases, everything! I'm your #1 fan!
Yep, it's safe to say that this kid's a little bit obsessed. I mean, we've all tied our worth to the person we look up to at some point. Think about it. Children build their entire world around who loves them, validates them, and who tells them they matter. That's what Buddy had expected from Mr. Incredible. But as the saying goes, never meet your heroes. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. When Mr. Incredible rejected Incrediboy, he did more than graze the kid's knees on the gravel. He ripped the boy's dreams in half. We witnessed this a few minutes later when Incrediboy shows up at the Bon Voyage interception.
You always say be true to yourself, but you never say which part of yourself to be true to.
That's cognitive dissonance talking. That's a split in the mind at work. We just didn't know it would grow into pure evil. We'll discuss the warped mentality in a few minutes. Before we go there though, let's take a quick look at something the canon pointed out. To be honest, there's actually a lot of canon on Syndrome, and it all makes a lot of sense.
This is because I don't have powers, isn't it? Well, not every superhero has powers, you know. You can be super without them.
To begin with, Redditors have theorized that Syndrome actually was a super. He just didn't know it. I mean, think about it. This boy was building rocket boots before he had even grown into his full height.
Hey, aren't you curious about how I get around so fast? See, I have these rocket boots.
That's a prodigy right there. And his superpower, genius-level intellect. Syndrome was an inventor. As we later saw, he used these inventions. He sold them off and became a villain that would put even Elon Musk to shame. Seriously, he even came up with an AI robot right around the time that PayPal became a thing. This degree of insane smartness played into his ideology, of course. I'll get into that in a second. First, I'd like to mention another really interesting theory I came across. Do you remember when Syndrome intercepted Bon Voyage? The thief got away, right? And Mr. Incredible handed Incrediboy over to the police. Now watch this.
Take this one home and make sure his mom knows what he's been doing.
He didn't say parents, he said mom. The fandom has an explanation for that one. Mr. Incredible was a superhero long before Incrediboy or Buddy was even born. And while he did marry Elastigirl, he might have had relationships before then. Incrediboy's hair and eyes are the same color as Dash's. Could it be possible that Buddy was Mr. Incredible's first son and that he knew his mother? That would explain Buddy's obsession and also his intellect. See, the children of super parents are bound to have superpowers. But if one of them was a regular human being, the child would only be half super. Crazy, right? Well, super or not, Syndrome did some pretty atrocious things. And the funny part is that in some twisted ways, they actually do make sense. Whether or not that makes him redeemable or not is something that we'll get to in a minute. Let's first take a look at Syndrome's mind. Syndrome's brain is actually less mad genius layer and more psych spiraling down a tech-fueled black hole. And it all starts with the gadgets. He's armed with so many rockets, bombs, and many devices that even Tony Stark would look at him and go, dude, chill. But at the core of it all, he's just a wounded child with extreme rejection sensitivity. Syndrome had a grudge against Mr. Incredible for not taking him under his wing, and that's where the dark mirror theory comes into play. Syndrome isn't just a random villain. He's the dark mirror of Mr. Incredible himself. Both men are obsessed with glory, recognition, and the idea of being special. But where Bob channels it into genuine heroism, saving people and protecting innocent lives, a Superman before the Henry Cavill versus David Corenswet debate started, Buddy warps ambition into destruction and rage. This isn't a hero versus a villain dynamic. This is, here's what a hero could become if you twist them a little. Think about it. Mr. Incredible has an ego. He loves the spotlight. He wants to be adored. Syndrome's ambition, that same desire, only cranked up, poisoned with rejection, and stripped bare to the bone of morality. But there's a clever irony here. Syndrome still wants to be admired as a hero, unlike characters like Megamind who own up to their bad to the bone thing. Syndrome wants to be cheered upon. He literally designs his whole master plan so that the world would think that he's the greatest hero ever. He'll swoop in, defeat his own invention, and bask in the glory of global applause. But because it's all fake, it's hollow. He doesn't want to save people, he just wants to be worshipped. That's what makes him so terrifying. That's what makes him so vile. That twisted smile, it says, I'm chipped inside. And the thing is, this almost makes us feel sorry for him. Almost, I said, not quite. Let's talk about Syndrome's most infamous line.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
On the surface, this sounds like a throwaway cartoon line, but when you inspect it for a second, oh boy, is it loaded.
And when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super.
Syndrome's whole philosophy is basically this. He's going to hoard his inventions, use them to get artificial praise, and then sell them off. Lunch hour at school would have been way more fun if we weren't spitting pew 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 from our mouths and shooting imaginary bullets. And it would have been so cool if we could actually blast off on rocket boots every time we bid adieu to our friends. But here's the caveat. As Syndrome pointed out, selling off gadgets like these would make everyone special, and there's a hidden downside to that. The creepy man-child is basically saying, if I can't shine, no one can. I'll drag everyone down until we're all the same. It's twisted egalitarianism. On the surface, it sounds fair, as though he's leveling the playing field for us all. But underneath, this philosophy is not about justice, it's about his own resentment. It's about destroying specialness so that nobody can ever stand out. And that's the scary part. This idea feels seductive. It's the kind of thought that makes us nod until we say, wait, am I agreeing with the villain right now? Pixar made resentment look rational. For about 2 seconds, honestly, but let's be fair, it got there. This is why Syndrome's philosophy is so dangerous. It's half true, half horrific. There's just one thing though. Syndrome's ideology is not at all the only thing that makes him vile. It's what he actually did. This is the dark part of Syndrome's plan, the one Pixar had to cover up with Michael Giacchino's Jazz just so it would be more G-rated. Because when you fully grasp the horror of what Syndrome was doing, oh boy, literal chills. Let's take a step back for a minute. Remember Scarlet Overkill? Yeah, she was ready to eradicate the minion species because Bob and Kevin ticked her off. But that woman's reason was rage. And let's be fair, anger does make us do bad things. We often regret what we said while we were hot in the head. Syndrome? He's not angry, he's something else. At first, he unveils himself as the bad guy with the master plot of elaborate villainy. Then he accidentally launches Mr. Incredible into the Earth's stratosphere. Okay, well maybe not the stratosphere, but at least deep down in the ocean. I've rewatched this scene dozens of times, and one thing gets me every time. It's not that Syndrome thought, hey, we were in the middle of a conversation, I should pull him out and talk to him first. He just decides to blast him off. And all this doesn't even make him flinch.
Light rating negative. Mr. Incredible terminated.
Dude, where did you learn to detach like that? And how exactly do you live this way? Syndrome's been happily getting rid of supers for decades at this point, all so that he could train a robot on how to get rid of Mr. Incredible. So when he thinks that it's done, he doesn't even pause to think, wow, that was easy. How could it have been that simple? He just dusts off his hands and walks away satisfied. That's crazy, bro. This is some creepy shit. I know the bit about Syndrome's master plan to systematically eradicate supers gets talked about quite a bit, but there are other things that make him horrific much more so than what we have here. I mean, don't we watch bad guys kill people all the time? Ernesto de la Cruz killed his best friend. Scarlet Overkill tried to murder the minions. Lord Shen was prepared to blast a whole country. You know what gets me about Syndrome so much? His cold, utter ruthlessness. I mean, it's been insinuated that he and Mirage were together. Considering how he leans into her in this shot, it's safe to assume that they were shaboinking. Side note, dude, your assistant? Seriously? Still, that's a topic for another day. What I'd like to talk about right now is that he doesn't even care if she dies.
I'll crush her.
Oh, that sounds a little dark for you. Now, go ahead.
Oh man, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. But what really sends shivers down my spine is this one.
So you do know these people? Oh, well then, I'll send them a little greeting.
At first, it makes sense. A government plane on a rescue mission would be the last thing that Syndrome would want. Then you remember something. Isn't Syndrome already working with so many of the world's governments?
Turns out there are a lot of people, whole countries who want respect, and they will pay through the nose to get it. How do you think I got rich?
So he's prepared to kill off people that he's working with? That's bad, but still not as bad as this.
Like, abort! Abort! There are children aboard!
Syndrome didn't know these children were supers. All he knew was that there was a woman and children on the ship, and that he was still prepared to blast them off. That is positively horrific. We see this later too. Remember when the family got caught? Sure, Violet and Dash are supers, but they are still middle schoolers. And Syndrome is wholly unperturbed by the idea of torturing and killing them off. It's vicious, but let me tell you, there's worse to come. Yup, and it's tied to his demise. We know that Syndrome had a mom growing up, but we don't know if he had a father. All we know is that he grew up tailing Mr. Incredible so hard, we're surprised he didn't get a restraining order. It's safe to say though, judging by Syndrome's personality, that he's what happens when a child grows up with nurture. Throughout the Incredibles movie, we watch Helen try to be an involved mother. She cares about Violet. She's very attentive towards Dash. And she absolutely loves Jack Jack even though he doesn't have superpowers. Jack Jack is a baby surrounded by love, care, and protection. His family doesn't reject him for being unpredictable. Rather, they celebrate him. That love becomes his anchor. Syndrome, on the other hand, was rejected by the person he admired the most. He never got the nurture he needed, so he grew up into a monster. That's the tragic controversy here. Syndrome could have been a hero. He had the brilliance, drive, and passion. Instead, he grew up into a selfish, arrogant, spiteful fiend. This almost makes him redeemable, but then we watch what he does to Mirage. This woman has shown nothing but loyalty to him, and he still doesn't value her life. In short, he eradicates his own salvation arc, which makes his death poetic justice. Syndrome doesn't get taken out by the machine he built, although to be fair, that could have happened. He doesn't get taken out by Mr. Incredible either. No grand Dark Mirror showdowns there. Syndrome lost due to his own arrogance, conceit, his bitterness towards love and celebration, which made him try to kidnap Jack Jack. Watching Syndrome panic under the eldritch horror Jack Jack unleashed was fun, but there's a detail here, the thing that actually drives his end home.
No capes!
Syndrome wanted to be a super, so he started wearing capes, and that was the very thing that took him down. So what do you think? Is Syndrome the most vile Pixar villain, or do you think Lotso's daycare dictatorship takes the cake? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell faster than Edna Mode bans a cape. Thanks for watching, and remember, when everyone's super, no one is.